with John Impemba and James Grande.
What is going on, FANation? John Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS Playbook live stream. We got 4 games here on a Tuesday. Grande, you were on the Playbook today, my friend. It's a pretty interesting 4-gamer just from the matchups that we have. We have some top-tier talent as well. How are you feeling about things today, buddy?
I feel pretty good about it. It's a fun slate. I think there's a lot of different ways you can get different on tonight's slate. Every single team on the front leg of a back-to-back, with every team playing tomorrow. So it's depending on how you approach the slate, I think it could be a pretty profitable one. I really, really do. I don't know what it is, John. I've never been a small. I don't know. Maybe it's like the less I have to deal with when it's smaller slates. But I've really enjoyed the smaller slates this year, including this one. 3 games, 237 or higher in terms of implied points. 2 of them in the 240s. One of them has been bet up. I started writing the playbook this morning. It was at 239.5. Memphis Phoenix has been bet up to 245.5. It's a lot of points in like a 5-6 hour window. So it's a fun overall slate, and I'm looking forward to get into things.
Yeah, let's jump into it. Appreciate you guys popping in. Our guy Don Yeezy, Justin, David, and Clem. Clem said he missed me. I miss you. I was yesterday. We were busy, launching the MLB draft guide for everybody. So you had Carlucci on the show with Grande there yesterday. Alex Len joining the Lakers.
Oh boy, championship. Let me tell you, Alex Len to the Lakers.
Joining the Lakers. I'm guessing that means they're probably not getting Marco Williams back.
No, so officially filed to the NBA.
Yeah, the appeal. Yeah.
So that would be a whole different thing. How, like, if the NBA looks into it and Mark Williams is literally healthy, imagine the trade is like double rescinded and now the trade happens. Like, boy, would that be a wild ride. Right,
because they're saying I guess we'll have to figure out what goes on there, right? The Hornets say he's healthy. The Lakers says he wasn't.
Spider-Man, they're Spider-Man. They're blaming each other.
Yeah, we'll see. I guess we'll
see. Mark, we did not want to trade you, but we just couldn't pass up on the offer. Did you? I mean, their tweet yesterday was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Mark, buddy, pal, friend, we didn't want to trade you.
Yeah, we're cool, right? We're cool. All right. So let's just get into it. 4 games, be a little bit of a quicker show here. What's up, Josh? Do you guys share your DK handles? Or is that private? I mean, we share screenshots in our Discord all the time. If you want to, if you're
on Twitter all the time.
On Twitter all the time, yeah, go follow us. You'll see them. You'll see us there. If you're looking for them, we're not hiding it, but we're not gonna advertise it either. So you can go find it. We share them. All right, your top price guys: Cade Cunningham 10.5, Joel Embiid 10K. We'll see, I guess, on the JoJo extravaganza. I have a lot of Joel Embiid in fantasy spin where I'm actually hoping he doesn't play so I can just get his 50 fantasy points. I think that's the route I'm looking to go here tonight. So
yeah.
All right, Cade Cunningham's 10.5. He's the best player on the slate. No.
Like in terms of just basketball ability, or like the best play overall?
I mean, maybe a little bit of both. I mean, I get the price. He's the most expensive player on the slate. So there may be better per dollar matchups on the board. Like we play Jokic all the time because we say he is the best
player in the NBA.
Is not on the injury report for Wednesday. Is he going to play for Charlotte? What is going to happen here?
What if he gets hurt?
I don't know. Yeah, obviously, again, we play Jokic every night. We think he's the best player on the slate every night. Price, it is what it is. Cade Cunningham, I think, could be the most talented player on the slate. I mean, number 1 overall draft pick, playing kind of out of his mind. Great matchup against Chicago. He's also the most expensive player on the slate, and there are other guards. So where does Cade, I guess, fit for you then?
So I don't think he's the best play in the slate. I think if you're just looking for baseline of points, then you could play like that's you've said this forever. Like on the smaller slates, you just need raw points. Like on other slates, some bigger 9-game slates, like you are looking for a lot more upside. But on a slate like this, then yeah, if you don't think anyone can score 60 and Cade's the only guy that you think can get you 60 tonight, well, then I think Cade makes a lot of sense. I will say the value is really, I'm not in like love with today.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw like some of the top owned plays, but Kevin Huerter was one of them all day. Like, you know, nothing against Kevin Huerter's role. It was fine in his first game with the Bulls. Nothing against the price. It's good. But that's something that usually you see go away, right? Like you open up rostership. Oh, Kevin Huerter's rostered. I'm going to see that go away. It hasn't because there's no value. Like nothing has opened up to yet. So I'm good with Cade. I definitely love everything about this game environment, including what Cade can provide. But, you know, obviously you're going to have to make a really, I mean,
he's the highest rostered spend up today.
He's the highest rostered spend up. I think there's not any. I mean, him and Joel.
Fair.
No one plays Maxey. Even if there was a fire, no one cares to play Tyrese Maxey. And then that's like it. Those are like your only spend up. So like,
it's probably hard to play Maxey when 25% are in on Cade, right? They're just like,
yes, yeah. You. It's essentially like if you're starting Maxey, Cade, you have $4,900, and you've already used up both two of your just point guard spots right off the bat.
Brandon Clark is the highest rostered player on the
yeah. Then Brandon Clark, yes, Brandon Clark is getting a lot of ownership. So like, I'm definitely good with Cade. If you end up there and you like the build that you have with Cade, then like do it. I think Cade obviously I wrote this in the playbook. 3 different ways in the last 3 games he's gotten you ceilings. Triple-double where he doesn't shoot well.
Yeah.
38 actual where he doesn't shoot well, but he takes 30 shots.
38, 9, and 7 against Cleveland, by the way.
Against Cleveland. And then 60 bomb going 30 and 14.
Yeah.
And he's like one of the better rebounding guards in the NBA because he's 6'6", and that's not a normal size point guard. So if you end up on Cade Cunningham, you're going to be happy. It's just kind of an uncomfortable build. You can say that about most guys on the slate. So like, I'm not saying don't spend up.
Yeah.
I've personally, when I've been building today, I've been more fair and balanced, and I'm not usually like a fair and balanced player.
Yeah.
Like you led with, we play Jokic. I play Jokic every slate. I had him at sub 20% and probably could have had close to a takedown if he plays the fourth quarter last night.
Weird.
So like, I'm not one to like shy away from spending up, but
dude, I'm scrolling through Cade box scores. Like he's gone for 70 multiple times this year. Like his ceiling is elite.
Yeah, he's Himothy. He is Himothy for sure.
And we've talked about this for a while now. We're like, just stay healthy.
Yes.
Get him in competitive, and boom, all of a sudden he is smashing. All right, so you got that. You mentioned no one's in on Maxey. Maxey himself has like multiple 60+ fantasy point games this year. If you want to go with a guy that's cheaper with a similar-ish ceiling, and we talked about this last night, more consistently, Maxey's giving you the 30+ scoring.
Yes.
Right? And that's where his fantasy points are coming from. And then if he gets you the 6 rebounds, 6 assists, he's going to go ahead and get you the 60+ fantasy point games. So Maxey, Booker, Barnes are the rest of your 9K range. I'll throw in Morant, Brunson, and Halliburton just kind of round out the 6-man of the sort of the tier below Cade. Where are you looking to go?
So I definitely like Maxey. I was looking into him last 2 games with Joel Embiid and Paul George. His usage rate has remained above 30%.
Mm-hmm.
All I need. That's all I need, right? Like if Tyrese Maxey with Embiid and Paul George is going to put up 30% usage rate nightly, then that's the guy you want. So love Maxey at low ownership. You can definitely play Devin Booker. I think that game is really fun. Again, it's been bet up to 245.5. Memphis, obviously, we know plays fast. Maybe a little bit of a sneaky part of this. Memphis has been really good lately, but over their last 10 games, 17th in defense. This is a team that ranks 7th overall. So I think this could be really high scoring. They don't really have yes, Triple J is a great defender. They don't really have a perimeter great defender. They traded away their best perimeter defender, Marcus Smart. I know Jalen Wells is really good. Jalen Wells also getting his minutes sapped because we've talked about this. They have 7,000 players. Vince Williams is limited. They're all just playing teams minutes. So I like Devin Booker. Let's talk Scotty at small forward because it's an awful position. I think Ja is good in tournaments. I think his price is better on FanDuel. He's $8,200 on FanDuel. He's really popular over there. I like him better on that site. But it's something you and I have talked about, and what makes Memphis in general appealing. They're big three. They're big three. Appealing is that in Western Conference games, they typically play more minutes. And that in Western Conference games, when it's competitive against teams that are playoff bound. So I think we should get close to full minutes out of Ja. The guy for me is Jalen Brunson here. And he's been really good, dude. 31% usage rate or better in 3 straight. He's 36 actual in 2 of the last 3. This is a massive pace-up spot for the Knicks. Indiana's now 5th in pace in the NBA. They're 19th in defense. He also, and you've heard my take on this, and whoever heard the pre-show, I am indifferent. I cannot believe OG Anunoby is listed as questionable. I still don't believe it. We have to assume he's going to play. He practiced on Monday and whatever, but it was limited. He did some stuff, and Shams had reported he's not going to play, and now he's questionable on the front leg of a back-to-back before the All-Star break. It just doesn't make sense to me. So I'm kind of thinking he doesn't play. That would be my assumption. And you and I have talked about this a little bit. Jalen Brunson, 4% usage pump when OG Anunoby's off the floor, biggest on the team. So that play for me at $8,400 on DraftKings, I am very, very high on. I think there's, we've seen 40 actual point upside out of Jalen Brunson in basically 2 of the last 3. He has 50 in a game this year, and the usage rate spikes as soon as OG goes off the floor. And the passing has been incredible from Jalen Brunson lately with a ton of assists. So Brunson's the guy for me in this tier after Cade. That's just how I feel today. Obviously Booker has the eligibility factor. The eligibility is a little better because I think there's some value point guards that we're going to talk about. Coach Chris already talked about one. Another one's the cover of my playbook today. So it's a really good mid-tier in value as well. But I am prioritizing Brunson, and this is kind of my point of I am pretty fair and balanced today overall.
Halliburton. $8,200. I know you mentioned them, but obviously the other side of that has some upside there. Quickly is 61. You mentioned the cover of your playbook today.
Yeah, this is a guy that we came back from injury, and the first injury, not this one, we were Darko minutes limit, right? And we're yeah, he played 36 minutes out of the shoot. And he was $6,900. And that's kind of what his price was earlier in the year. And now we're getting him at 6,100 going from 21, 28, 30 minutes in 3 straight games. The usage rate was great last game. This is a bottom 10 defense that he's facing in Philly with or without Joel Embiid. And without the guys that are on the floor or traded, 25% usage, 1.2 fantasy points per minute. Sign me all the way up for Emmanuel quickly. One of the easier plays of the day to get to, in my opinion.
I think you're right. I think you go to your lineup build, you look at guys that have Some upside that are probably just mispriced, because you mentioned he's coming back from the injury, starting to get that ramp up like we've talked about. But when Emmanuel Quickly is going right this year, we saw him around $7,000, even higher to begin the season. So you're getting just a huge discount. He's going to be playing the minutes that he's playing on. And then you mentioned, Coach Chris brought it up, you've talked Tyus Jones a lot this year. When Bradley Beal's been off the floor, it just allows him to sort of be that third man in this offense, right? And here we go again, 10 assists last game against Denver when they were without, Durant in that group. $4,800, just another easy value play.
Easy value, very safe. 0.9 fantasy point per minute without Beal and Nurk this year. If he's going to play low to mid 30s minutes at 0.9 fantasy points per minute at sub 5K, and even on FanDuel 54, it's a very easy player to get to in a game that has 246 essentially points implied.
Agreed. Anybody else at point guard?
No, I think it drops off a cliff, and I think taking a shot at anyone below him, unless we get the OG news and you play like Deuce McBride, who played 35 minutes last game, but even that, like, it's not been the same Deuce McBride this year as it was early, or at least this portion of the year that it was earlier in the year.
I agree. Shooting guard we go then. Again, Booker and Bane, $2,000 price difference between the top two priced guys. You mentioned Booker above with the lack of defense here. How do you feel about Bane on the other side of that matchup?
Ryan, I think Embiid plays, but it's a front leg of a back-to-back. He might play today. He might play tomorrow. I would assume he plays today if Vegas is setting this line at 9.5 in favor of Philly.
Yeah.
I think that's the assumption that we get a Embiid in, but you never know. Yeah, it's the early game, so like we'll know. What's up, Zavon? How's it going? I like Desmond Bane. I think, like I said with Ja, you can basically apply the same logic to Desmond Bane as Ja. Like in competitive games, he plays big minutes. The last two Western Conference games that he's played, 36 minutes against OKC, 40 against Houston. So that's not like on accident. That is by design. Returns from a sprained ankle, plays 36 minutes. So I like Bane. I wish that he still had the small forward eligibility.
Yeah.
That hurts him a little bit, but I do like him quite a bit.
Ownership at this position again is going down towards the value tier, but Kobe White is getting some love. Like where do you go with Chicago today? Like are we like some plays in the Detroit side of this? Is there anybody that just stands out to you for Chicago?
Yeah, we'll get to him at power forward. Kobe White's ownership, as you're talking about him, he's now the highest roster shooting guard of the day. That just happened live. Yeah, I mean, I like Kobe White. When you look at no Lonzo, no Zach LaVine, has the highest usage rate on the team, about 26%, averages over a fantasy point per minute. Detroit's actually in the top half of the league in terms of defense. They're ranked 12th in defense, which I think is probably surprising to a lot of people. But obviously we've known Detroit's good. I think there's a lot of things that White benefits from. One is this random shooting guard small forward eligibility that he has.
Yeah.
And it's the Bulls are playing four guards. You can't give them all shooting guard eligibility. Mm-hmm. So like Io is now a power forward according to DraftKings. Kobe White now is apparently playing small forward. So like kind of is what it is, right? Josh Giddey and Lonzo are still only point guard. They only play point guard. But his eligibility obviously helps. The 3-point volume and efficiency on those threes help. He hasn't missed a free throw in like a month. So, I mean, there's a lot to like. The purple stats are kind of not as good as they were earlier in the year and not as consistent as they were. So, like, we're getting all this good scoring. But the only time you see Kobe White really pop is when he puts everything together. I like him. I'm like, would I be underweight on him at the current rostership as the highest roster shooting guard of the day? Probably.
Where is the shooting guard you're looking to play today? Because like I said, this is a smaller slate. This isn't the strongest position. Grady Dick is number 2 in ownership here today. Kevin Huerter, as you mentioned, is right there. THJ is down here. Is there a go-to shooting guard for you?
I think if I was between Herter and THJ, I would just simply play Herter, because it's the same player for cheaper, right? Like we just need one of these players to make shots. Kevin Herter didn't make shots, and you see the floor. But that's THJ. THJ plays more minutes.
I was gonna say way more minutes for Tim Hardaway.
Way more minutes, but like the floor is still the basement for Tim Hardaway, even in those more minutes. So, I don't have like a strong desire to play either. I do like the Grady Dick play. The minutes other than the injury have been great, right? 28, 32, 31, 33, 29. They traded Bruce Brown. They have no RJ Barrett. Quickly's back and, didn't really impact his minutes whatsoever. Hasn't really impacted the shot volume either. And we have gotten a more aggressive Grady Dick lately on the glass. So that's probably the direction I'd go. I like some Grayson Allen in tournaments. I don't think we're going to get 36 minutes. There was obviously overtime aided when he hit that miracle 3 to tie it after blowing the lead to begin with against Utah. But I do think Grayson Allen is solid in tournaments. We should see somewhere around 30 minutes at $4,900. And that's kind of it. I mean, you could play Beasley in tournaments. You never know what you're going to get from him, but he has, a ceiling. If OG's ruled out, it's easier to get to Mikal Bridges.
Yeah.
But like that, I am never excited about Mikal Bridges on the Knicks, just given how dominant Brunson and Towns are with the ball. Sure. So like anything else is hard to get to, unless your name's Josh Hart. So it's obviously a weaker position. And again, I would entertain the Kevin Herter idea. When you look at how their rotation shook out the other day, him and Patrick Williams were the first two players off the Bulls bench.
Yeah.
Didn't close the game, obviously, but it's worth at least factoring in. He went 1 of 7. First guy off the bench and he played the most minutes off the bench. So, and that's factoring in he didn't play any garbage time. So, I don't know. I do think Herter is okay. Herter also fits your Cade builds the best. Like if you want to go up and get Cade, he fits that construction pretty well.
Yep. Anybody else?
No.
Small forward, as you mentioned, kind of sucks. Cam the Man saying that's probably why Kobe White's getting all the ownership
for
too.
Sure. For sure.
Has that small forward eligibility, but you got Scotty Barnes, you got Josh Hart, Paul George at 74. Mentioned Kobe White already. Where does Scotty fit for you? I know we've kind of discussed his pricing versus recent output here. Do we think a matchup against Philadelphia lends towards a ceiling?
It definitely can. Philly is bottom 10 defensively this year. It's a really slow-paced game. This is obviously the worst game on the board, but it's still solid. Mid-220s, 224.5 total. I'm good with Scotty. The numbers are what they are. No Barrett, no Olynyk, no Bruce Brown. 28% usage, 1.3 fantasy points per minute. Those are very good numbers. So playing Scotty Barnes, you could do worse spending your money on the slate. No one's going to play him. I think you get pretty good return at the price. It's not a priority, but it is just worth looking at the position and being like, yeah, this kind of sucks.
Yep. Lowry and Gordon out today, unlikely to play tomorrow. We already knew the out today, but Nurse is giving some updates here, so maybe we'll get some Joel Embiid news here shortly. All right, a lot of these guys you kind of already touched on. I'm obviously a Beasley fan in general. You have Ausar Thompson though.
Oh wait, we didn't really? I really like Josh Hart. I know you had kind of talked about him.
Mentioned Josh Hart.
No, but they're that's you not listening again.
No, I thought it's shooting guard. You talk Josh Hart. But go ahead.
He's not a shooting guard.
I know, but I thought you just mentioned his name.
This is probably where I'd settle in at small forward if I'm not like going down the list. He's just very good. 1.05 fantasy points per minute with OG on the floor, 1.09 without him. The price is coming down. The minutes are not, even in blowouts. We've seen, 38 minutes last game from him. So 38 minutes in the blowout against the Lakers. And every time we get ceiling Josh Hart, there's 60 and you need him in the winning lineup. So this is probably where I'm most comfortable getting to at this position because everything else is a crapshoot.
Okay. I mean, yeah, we like Josh Hart on most slates. Get him a small slate. He has 60 fantasy point upside as we've seen before. It's not bad. We did talk the Ausar Thompson recent run of filling up the stat sheet, 27 minutes in 2 of the last 3 games. Kind of encouraging if you can get there. $5,100 at a weak position and a good matchup against Chicago.
Yeah, this is such a trap.
You think so?
There's nothing leading to that actually being factual other than seeing Ausar Thompson with 25% rostership and like the 3rd highest rostered small forward of the day.
Sure. So you think that by proxy of ownership, he's a trap?
It's just an ownership. It's nothing to do with the player. He's a good fantasy point per minute player. He's finally been consistently extended in the 20s. One of the games without Cade, he started as their point guard, like their de facto point guard. He only had 27 minutes in that game, but like everyone's going to be excited to jam who they want to be Amen Thompson. And he is not Amen Thompson yet. He is not in the role that Amen Thompson has, nor will he be seemingly anytime soon as long as Detroit continues to play the way they've played.
Sure.
And if he gets in any type of foul trouble, then we're in deep waters because the minutes are already like mid-20s. What do they look like if he's in foul trouble? That would be my only pause. I'm not saying he's not a good play. I'm not saying he's not at a good play at a weak position because the position sucks and you're not going to hear me give really anyone else any flowers here. I do think it's just worth mentioning, if there's foul trouble, we could be looking at 18 minutes. And I don't think at 18 minutes, you'd really want to play a $5,100 Ausar Thompson.
All right. I mean, listen, he's been a while since he's played that.
He is who he is in that respect.
Sure. Mobo and Grady Dick both ruled in. So we got. All right. Any other small forwards? I know you mentioned not really caring for it. Last night you said you didn't mind the Quinn and Grimes. We got Patrick Williams down here. Anything here at small forward?
Not really.
Okay. Power forward then. Cam the Man says Grayson chalk greater than Ausar chalk, according to you. The ceiling for Thomas is way higher than Grayson Allen.
The ceiling for Thompson, I mean, is it Grayson just went for 40 the other day?
Yeah, but they have Durant back.
Durant being back, I think Thompson is probably the better play. But I do think that Phoenix game is it's just so much better than every game on the board.
That's fair. All right, power forward gives you KD at 9K and gives you Triple J at 81.
Yeah, I mean, I am a fan of that range right there. I think you can easily get to Kevin Durant. 2% usage bump, 32.5% usage, 1.3 fantasy points per minute without Beal Nurk. Big peso spot for Phoenix. I'm also a huge fan of Jaren Jackson, and no one's really playing him today. And that's something that I really enjoy. I really enjoy low and Jaren Jackson Jr. I play a lot of low and Jaren Jackson.
Yeah.
And he's volatile. He's very volatile, fouls and sometimes still randomly getting playing second fiddle to Ja a lot when he could just take games over. Phoenix is a really bad defensive team, like really, really bad defensively. Bottom 5 in the league. This game total, as I've mentioned, is just insane. On the year, Triple J has a 29% usage and 1.35 fantasy points per minute, and it's just another one of those scenarios where the minutes could be where they were when they played OKC, and where they've kind of been in like these competitive settings where you get like full run out of Jaren Jackson. And in this type of game, you could also see both teams kind of ditch the center and just play. Like you see a lot of 5-ball Jaren Jackson. That always leads to a little bit of higher upside for Jackson on the glass too. So especially with Edie off the floor. So I really, really like Triple J in tournaments. And Durant's great and Siakam's great. And I think this whole tier of players are all great. If Miles Turner's out, like you can easily get to Siakam. That's a fantastic play. But I am very high on Triple J and a 246 implied total.
I mean, I agree with you, right? I mean, the game total on a 4-game slate shouldn't lend, you'd think, to a lot of ownership specifically on this matchup here. But like you said, when it comes to Jaren Jackson Jr., under 15% tonight. So could be interesting. Let's just go to Bazulis. He's your highest projected rostered power forward today. The point prop over in PrizePicks today was 13.
Yeah, it feels good. He lost blowout run too in this game. He lost the final 4 minutes. So he played 29, lost the final 4, could have gotten 33 minutes out of Bazulis. And that was the whole starting 5 too. I mean, Kobe White on pace for 36, Io on pace for 33. So yeah, I mean, look, he didn't close the first half, which I found a little weird. They closed with Patrick Williams over him. But he also had he didn't even have 3 fouls. He only had 2. So I don't really know what that was about. But he did obviously play really well. He did have a solid usage. Second game in a row, he had 22% usage or better. So yeah, I think Bazulis is very solid. He basically said, I'm going to start taking over. That's what he said, were his words. He's like, yeah, this is my time. I'm going to start taking over. So I like Matas Bazulis. I like the chalk there.
All right. Anything else we're going on here?
Yeah. Circling back to Tobias Harris, 5,900. I think Toby is really safe. Other than the Cleveland debacle, it's just been, we're back to like that early season Tobias Harris where you get mid to high 30s minutes. You get the like really good scoring, like secondary scoring next to Cade.
Yeah.
And he's like good enough peripherally to get you where you need to be. And the price has come back down below 6K. I really like this price range for Toby. So I like Tobias Harris, super safe. You got to play him in cash or single entries. That's nice. Io DeSunmu, I think, is a little bit interesting. Again, the eligibility kind of sucks, $5,400. I don't know why he's power forward only. It just doesn't make any sense. But again, on pace for 33 minutes, that would put him at 32 or more in like 7 of his last 8 games overall.
Yeah.
So I wish it wasn't. It makes it harder to play on power forward only eligibility, but I'm okay there. Coach Chris, on the Royce O'Neal question, I don't know what Phoenix is going to do with their like rotation in general. Booker, Durant, Richards, Tyus, and then probably Ryan Dunn starts, even though Ryan Dunn's kind of been axed. If Royce starts, I see a case for him like over Grayson Allen. But type of play for me. He would have to start for me to get there, because it's still $5,000 is still pretty expensive, but
Okay. Anybody else?
Anyone else at power forward? Obviously, we have to wait and see, and we'll know, I think, pretty early about the Miles Turner status.
Sure.
What I'm hoping for is we get that at 7 post 7:00. I would love to know Miles Turner or at 7:00.
So you can just have maybe a chance to have a low rostered Obi Toppin.
Yeah, so I can get to a low rostered Toppin or just low rostered Indiana or just what I want to do at less ownership because Toronto is really popular.
Yeah.
So like if you
they're all
if,
gonna
like,
walk early. So.
yeah, like if you play Ochai Agbaji at 4K, right, in that game, which I think is another fine play, another fine value. Or if you play a Boucher or you play like insert one of these cheap Raptors, you won't have as much flexibility to get to an Obi Toppin. Like if you played Mobo at center, right? Maybe you can't play Obi Toppin at so I would love to know that news at 7 because I would like to play some Obi if there's no Miles Turner.
All right, center. Joel Embiid is 10K. Karl Anthony Towns $9,400. Again, two guys that obviously went on the floor. Embiid has been productive, but we are concerned about his overall health. And then Towns this year, or at least lately, has been rather inconsistent. Do you find yourself spending up at the center position today?
You definitely can. You definitely can. I don't know what the Embiid minutes. I think it's going to be really hard to tell when he's going to play 30 and when he's going to play 36. Like we've seen, they checked him out. They were down a bunch the other against Milwaukee. They checked Paul George out in that game too, but they checked Tyrese Maxey and Oubre back in the game. So like if you thought that was a blowout, I don't think you would be checking Maxey and Oubre back into the game. And the game prior, he doesn't close the final 2 minutes. So instead of 29, he would have only played, or it was like 29, whatever. He would have played 31, 40. So yeah. I don't know what the latest, probably shouldn't have pushed him to 36 minutes, but that seems like what happened with Nick Nurse. I don't know if we should have pushed him. Doesn't seem likely. Because then, as soon as that happens, Embiid's talking to the media about needing surgery again. Yeah. So if he plays 36 minutes, and you don't have him, well, you're in trouble. But if he plays 30, he could still go off, but like 6 minutes matters, right? Like
he does have a pretty elite matchup tonight.
It's a great, I'm not disputing like it's a great spot. I don't hate Joel Embiid. I wrote him up. He's in my core plays. I think like there's a lot to like. I just think, there is a blatant difference for someone in DFS, but that when someone's playing 30 and 36 minutes.
Yeah, I agree.
I paid 12.8 for Nikola Jokic to play 30 minutes again last night. I would have not paid, if I had a crystal ball, I would have not paid that to get Nikola Jokic, right? Like, so there's a big difference between not getting that last shift for players. And if Embiid is not live to get that shift, then I do think there's like I'm a little worried about it. So I like him. I like Towns. I'm not like forcing them into my lineups tonight, but obviously they have elite ceilings.
All right, your chalk center tonight's Duran. Are we going there?
Yeah, I mean it's a great spot. It's a great spot. The one thing you just religiously worry about with Jalen Duren is foul trouble, and even in one of these games in foul trouble, he had 40 fantasy points 2 games ago against Joel Embiid. So. I am definitely good getting to Jalen Duren at 66. I think it's a very good play.
Okay. Where else are we looking to go at center tonight?
You could definitely get to Vooch in tournaments. Yabusele and Drummond probably split at center. I'm a little bit interested in Miles Turner in tournaments. Obviously got hurt, played terribly the game before in Portland. But 6K is really cheap for Miles Turner. So I think if he plays, I'm interested. Obviously, TBD if we get the Thomas Bryant starting lineup, but I think Thomas Bryant is fine. I prefer Obi Toppin, but in a lot of these games that Thomas Bryant's been extended in this year, he's been very good. So I think Bryant's fine. And I mean, would it surprise you if Orlando Robinson started if Joel Embiid plays?
Just to put like a actual center out there, I guess.
Yeah, Mobo is small. Yeah, Mobo is small.
Orlando, yeah, but is Orlando Robinson a big dude? Like, I don't remember him being all that big either. Orlando Robinson is, I guess he's 6'10". All right, maybe.
Because if Orlando Robinson were to start, he would probably be one of the higher rostered players of the day.
Just being $3,900.
Just being the price he is. I don't hate Mobo Donyezy. I think he's definitely fine. Has not really given us like a ceiling at this price. Like there's been really no instance other than early in the year where he's been like, yes, there is a ceiling. There is a fine floor for the current version. I would definitely be a little hesitant to think that there's this is like a kind of like how it's been the last few slates where you've just plugged Mobo because the price was what it was. This is now 4,900. We're talking about needing 25 fantasy points to get us there. So I'm good with Mobo. I think I'm a little indifferent about it.
What about Jalen Smith, who we highlighted on the previous show?
Yeah, I mean he's always a fun dart, right? He did benefit. I was looking at the rotation. He checked in and blew out. He played the final 4 minutes of that game.
Mm-hmm.
So
not impossible to happen tonight.
Not impossible to have tonight, but that is 15 minutes compared to 19 minutes, right? Like I think that there's it's another, like there is a discrepancy. Now, he played 15 minutes 2 games prior, 22 and 25 fantasy points. It's not like he can't like just rattle off big fantasy games. I almost wrote Brandon Clark up, almost, and the field was getting to Brandon Clark, still is kind of getting to Brandon Clark. I get it. I get it. I'm not totally into it, but I understand it. So,
4 guys for single entry. Jim wants to know. Well, we're making our lineup right now, so you get an idea. James and I play single entry, so we'll give you.
Is that a from the same team? You're asking? Is that like 4 guys from the same team? Right?
I don't think so. I think he's just saying give him 4 plays for a single entry contest.
Oh, 4 guys, 4 single entry. Sorry, reading comprehension's hard.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we build a lineup right now. And we generally play single entry, so the lineup we're building is generally usable in those. So feel free to take a look, maybe play it. You played our lineup last week. One of those lineups last week won tournaments, so can get it done. What are we gonna do? Start off here, Tyus probably.
Yeah.
Tyus. You should no one's playing Triple J, right? So Jaren Jackson. What can we get here? Great dick value.
Yeah. I mean, I played like Hart or Kobe White at small forward, just with how bad it is.
$6,300. Duran, yeah. 62. Maybe go quickly, like you like 61.
Yeah, switch. Definitely gonna switch quickly and tie us around, just in case. You never know. Tyus could get scratched and
super true. Tyus. I'm more team Thompson than you are, but we'll go there. And then $7,400. Actually, what if we go minus here? Zulis. 77 and a util gets you to Siakam or Bane.
Yeah, I like Pascal quite a bit. And then you're going to switch Jackson and Pascal and to be safe. Nope.
Right. Quickly. Nope. Yep. What?
Nope. You did the same. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It's the principle is the principle is.
There we go. There we go. We got it.
There you
go. All right. Quickly, Dick, Hart, Siakam, Duran, Jones, Bazulis, and Triple J. There you guys go for your example lineup there for everybody. Again, short slate, shorter show, bigger slate tomorrow. We'll be going probably longer than 6. So get your looks at Grande's Playbook. 7-day free trial still going on. Until then, everybody, can you play Quickly and Talus together? Yeah. Quickly and Talus together? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the positional eligibility obviously is what it is, but yeah.
Yep. Fine. Fair balance lineup today, guys. Again, only a couple of guys over 10K, and maybe only one of them worth playing. So good luck with your lineup build. Get us in the Discord, get us on Twitter, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow.